Welcome to a new Daily Top Askreddit video. Today's topic. Non-Americans of Reddit, what is the craziest rumor you heard about America that turned out to be true? Injured people try to avoid getting ambulances called for them. For real, WTF. I heard that Americans had to pay for an ambulance ride and thought at most it would just be an amount to cover petrol. But I've seen people claim it costs anywhere up to $3,000. I understand it will probably vary a lot between states. Every day I am increasingly thankful for the NHS and so sad to see it underfunded and struggling to cope. My boyfriend, whose health insurance, got a bill for $990 for a 15-minute ambulance ride. But I've seen people claim it costs anywhere up to $3,000. 10x that if you're in the wrong place and somebody calls in a helicopter. Absolutely. I'm an American and I have insurance, but it's terrible. I'd call an Uber and go to the hospital if there was no way to avoid going to the hospital. But I'd have to have a broken bone or something serious to go. I didn't need an ambulance, but when I broke my foot I toughed it out overnight and then got a ride to my primary care doctor. I was scolded for not going to the emergency room, but that's $150 just to breathe their air, and no guarantee that any doctor is in network, even if the place itself is in the network. F that. That Hawaiians really like spam. Yeah, and there's a perfectly good reason for it too. After Pearl Harbor, the effects of WW2 started in the US and rationing became a thing. Well, it turns out that it's kind of hard to get fresh rations to an island that imports a lot. So, for meat, they had to make do with spam. Human ingenuity prevails and dishes were made. And that's how Hawaii learned to love spam. Same with Koreans and the Korean War. Now you can buy spam gift sets in Korea. Edit, this is what I'm talking about when I say gift sets. My Fias is Hawaiian. He was born and raised there and they do love spam. Also hella rice. Rice is cheap and can be eaten in hundreds of ways, so make sure to get yourself a big ol' sack of rice. They have garbage disposals in their kitchens. That's just so wild to me. Edit, to clarify, I'm from the UK. I'm aware that they are not the same as bins/trash cans, and that they are mainly for food waste and scraps. I'm also delighted that they are called garbarators in Canada. Removed. Okay, this is one I, an American, didn't expect to see. Didn't realize these weren't common in other countries. Why do they seem wild? Easier for the homeowner to rinse scrap food off plates and peel veggies into the sink, and wastewater treatment is better designed to process biomass than landfills. Seems like a win-win. I'm American. At this point we put everything that would go down the disposal into a compost pail we keep on the counter. Edit, here's a pic of our pail open and closed. The Askreddit. Edit, why is my most popular comment about a garbage disposal? This is one of the things I ponder at night. Thanks for the gold BTW. It's very popular. That being said, I live in NYC where it's very uncommon due to a huge amount of older buildings and apartment. People who have garbage disposals here are rare. That public transport is almost non-existent in many smaller towns, which makes it a necessity for teens to have their own cars. 100%, so if you want a job when you're 16 you better live walking distance to your job or have your parents get you a used car of sorts. I'm gonna throw an edit in here to you city slickers. Not everywhere is bike friendly, especially in growing cities and rural counties where downtown is along a 55 miles per hour highway without sidewalks or shoulders. Even if it's within walking distance, many places will still not hire you if you don't have a car. What if it's raining/snowing? An employee not having a car is a red flag to an employer that this person may not be reliable. There's a reason why most applications ask if you have transportation to get to your job. It really sucks, but that's how it is. Not almost, it literally doesn't exist. Public transport is a joke in most major cities and doesn't exist outside of them. We have transit bus system in my area, but the buses don't start running until an hour after I have to be at work. I remember when I was younger seeing something on an American sitcom or a movie, I forget, about cheese that came in some kind of spray can. Or a squeezy tube. And I remember thinking it was a joke. Edit, this is what I've learned. It's called Ease Whiz or EZEs or some variation, as long as there are Z's in the name. It's more like a cheese-based product or cheese-flavored food fluid, both of which sound like something you extract from a cyst. The movie I saw it in might have been a Goofy movie, or Blues Brothers. I can't remember. It's mostly an abomination that brings shame to your country, but it might actually be tasty at 3 a.m. if you are drunk /high hating yourself all of the above. 2 ways to make it more enjoyable include spraying on crackers, or as part of a Philadelphia cheesesteak, or would that make it a Ease steak? Thanks for all the responses, lads. You buy EZEs when you're a kid and eat it on Ritz crackers. Then you turn 10 and you never eat it again. You want to, then you remember how ridiculous it is, then you don't. I remember me and my dumbass friends would put bacon cheddar EZ cheese on barbecue Lay's chips. I could hear my health teacher screaming across the city. Not cheese, Ease. Homeowners Associations. What the fuck is up with that? We're all planting red flowers this year, Margot. Shut up, Karen. The real purpose of HOAs is to maintain a certain aesthetic standard for the neighborhood while the developer tries to sell houses. It also allows the developer to recoup some of the expenses to create or maintain the common areas from the homeowners. HOAs are created to benefit developers and not homeowners. Source: I'm a real estate attorney that has drafted and filed a bunch of HOA declarations for developers. Have to include the history. HOA started as a way to discriminate. We all agree that this board we elected has to approve everyone who lives here. As a Brit living in America, the amount of pharmaceutical commercials on TV is creepy. We agree. It's really unsettling. Also, I'm sick of Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers showing up to tell me about insurance. Smiling person living life to the fullest. Narrator: side effect include anal bleeding, gigantism, lupus, skin shedding, and death. Ask your doctor about Prolax today. Not exactly crazy, but I wanted to test out the stereotype that Americans will talk to anyone, so I sought out a sports bar on my first visit. Ended up having a ton of really fun conversations with total strangers who I'll never talk to ever again. It was great. Edit: it seems Reddit likes hearing stories about this trip, so here's another one I shared a while back. American: I will speak to anyone about anything. I can't even count the number of times I've randomly started conversations with strangers, become friends within 30 minimum, then never spoken to them again. When I started traveling for work, I'd often find myself in bars or on flights and buses alone, so I'd end up starting a convo so I could have some human interaction. Lol. I've had several German friends who were amazed that at house parties everyone actually does drink out of red Solo cups. They thought that was just a weird thing people did in movies, and now they think it is a huge conspiracy or something. I'm Finnish, and few years back people actually threw US-themed parties, and the high point of the parties were the red cups and beer pong played with them. Every person I know who owns a set of those cups, like 20 or so, use them only for beer pong. They wash them and use again in the next party. Standard in Finland are those see-through cups you see in festivals. The red cups make every party just slightly better and classier and add a feel that the host actually put in effort. The opacity is important. It's how we get around not being able to drink in public, especially for tailgating. Ha 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 ha, I love that. Reading that red Solo cups are classy is hilarious as an American. It's the most popular brand and they're excellent for drinking games, sturdy. You can cheap out and buy other types of plastic or styrofoam cups, but if you're playing something like beer pong, it's a noticeable difference. Beer pong. Another thing I thought was just in the movies. Can you really buy a gun at Walmart? We have Walmart here in Canada, but I've always wondered if you can really buy one just like that in the States. At my local Walmart you can bring your car in for an oil check, get an eye exam, get a haircut, eat lunch at the in-store Subway, purchase a gun, purchase groceries, purchase a freaking couch, and then go home once the background check for the gun is finished, and the oil change is done. Edit: yes, I get it. You don't need a background check for an oil change. I could have worded that better. Second edit: other things I forgot to add. You can purchase alcohol, depending on state. Get your taxes done. Get a birthday cake made. Print pictures from a USB, phone, etc. Get dog tags made. Get spare keys made. Rent movies. Pick up a full-course meal for dinner at the deli. That sounds like an oddly detailed day of suicide plan. There are background checks, so it's not like you just walk in and out with a gun in a few minutes, but they sell them. Yeah, my dad bought a BB gun for the neighbor boy and it took like 3 hours. I realize it's not a real gun, that was the entire point of the post. Even a BB gun is hard to get. It's fantastic for all of you where you can just grab one off a shelf and buy one at the self-checkout. That wasn't his experience. E2 the fantastic was sarcastic, thought that was obvious. Not me but my dad. My dad heard this crazy rumor about everyone getting drunk and wearing green for 1 day a year. He obviously didn't know this was a holiday, and was like WTF. When he came to the US and discovered St. Patrick's Day, he was amazed. Edit, my dad is from China for those who are asking. St. Patrick's Day in the US is an excuse for ordinary Americans to act the way that middle-aged Londoners act when on holiday in Dublin, only with more plastic leprechaun hats and glitter. Edited to add, stop upvoting this. It is not as funny as Up All Night to Get Lucky. Yup, and on top of that suddenly everyone is part Irish. Edit, when I say suddenly part Irish I'm not implying that everyone is lying. A lot of them are probably telling the truth since there are so many Irish Americans. What I meant is that no one mentions this fact until St. Patrick's Day. Legend has it that if you drink more than 4 beers on St. Paddy's Day you turn Irish for 24 hours.